All right, so pre-collapse investments and what does one do? Because it's not just about making money, it's about preserving your purchasing power, making sure you don't lose money. In fact, most billionaire investors, downturn millionaires, all of them look at the investments out there through this lens. So first, I want to just welcome over 1,000 new subscribers in the last month. If you're not familiar with my kind of view of how I see the economy right now, let me just give you a brief explanation. And basically, it's that every 50 years, roughly, there's a global economic reset. The last one happened after World War I. And basically what it means is that the world reserve currency switches hands. It's happened from, England to the US. Before that, it was England. Took it away from the French from the Spaniards, I believe, or I might have those two wrong, but it's in that sequence, if you will. And so now we're on the cusp, I believe. And by on the cusp, I don't mean tomorrow or next week. It could be years. It could be another 5 to 10 years. But we're definitely witnessing the beginning of it. And I think that's going to be from the dollar as the world reserve currency to a basket of currencies, or very well also the Chinese currency having the dominant role as the new world reserve currency. And there'll probably be a battle that will be waged, literal battle, like a World War III battle, because typically these events center around war. So global economic reset, it's underway, and you see that with investors positioning themselves in two assets to protect their wealth, protect their purchasing power. More importantly, I want to break those down to you. So first, like I said, for people like George Soros or people like Carlos Slim, the richest man in the world, it's not about making all kinds of crazy money, crazy. I mean, it is. These guys definitely do that. I mean, Soros just recently sold in the fourth quarter of last year a big share of his gold holdings to basically get into currency trading, as that's basically his whole deal has been currency trading. He shorted, the British pound sterling. He's famous for breaking the Bank of England. But I want to get into what this and these different asset classes are. And for all of these people, I think what's key is, again, preserving their purchasing power, not losing money. And I think when we talk about gold, we basically think about the same thing. So the first asset that these guys are in is gold, right? Or the first asset that I should say is used as a means to preserve wealth is gold. That's why governments make fun of gold. That's why the mainstream media calls you a crazy man if you want to invest in gold, or says it's a barbaric relic, because they want you to be at the whims of government. Once everything deteriorates, they want you running to government, running to the same people who created the problem. They want you running to them for the solution, right? But if you own gold, if you had your savings, let's say in gold, yeah, you might have lost a couple $100 between now and maybe last year. But ultimately, if you look at it as preserving your purchasing power, you're still doing light years better than the fiat dollar that's losing roughly 10% of its value a year because of the dollar devaluation policies of Ben Bernanke. So let's look at gold right now. Who's buying gold? Central banks around the world, specifically central banks in emerging markets that are going to suffer the most when the global reset takes place. Or I should say they'll suffer just as much, probably worse, than other countries in the world when that reset takes place, right? Central banks, the Russian central bank, the Chinese, so many banks, and also a lot of developing countries, like I said, all these countries that, there's too many to name. Anyways, Soros. Soros has been a big buyer of gold, but like I said, end of last year, he dumped his U.S. financial stocks, and he sold a big portion of his gold to start trading in the currency trades, because there's a tremendous opportunity there. As all these countries rush to devalue, it's kind of like knowing who's going to devalue first and who's going to do what. Now, what most of these people and these people, I'll get to these people in a second, what they have in common is that they're all part of that globalist, crony capitalist world. I did a video a few weeks ago that talked about who's going to rule the new economy. And I said it's going to be the global elites, that we don't play in that pond, or it's going to be the entrepreneur, investor, farmer, those people. And those people will be the ones that also rule the new economy. Well, these people, they the global elite, if you will. Today it was revealed that the last Fed meeting minutes were actually leaked to lobbyists, members of Congress prior to it coming out to the general public, because of course they need to position themselves before the market reacts. So these people are all part of the crony capitalism. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. And I'll break this list down here in a second. So Soros sells gold to get into currency, but he's also buying gold. He's also talking down gold. He makes fun of gold while he's buying it. He's telling people they should sell it. Kind of the old Goldman Sachs mentality, who basically tells people don't invest in gold, but they buy it. Or basically, same thing with treasuries. Now they sell treasuries, but then they're dumping treasuries. This is how this world works. PIMCO as well. PIMCO was bullish on gold. Late last year, they started talking about how, kind of reducing their gold holdings as well. I think all this is short term. Carlos Slim buying gold